Just fix them a quick lunch and run a bath, my mother-in-law barked as she barged into my home with 6 grandkids. I froze. You know the drill, babe, my husband added, and they both laughed. I walked out, and 4 days later, he called in a panic. You have to come back. It's a disaster. My name is Vanessa. I'm 42, a former graphic designer turned stay-at-home wife. After years of trying to balance everything, career, marriage, mental health, I chose calm. Or so I thought. Tyler and I have been married for over a decade. He's a marketing director for a mid-sized outdoor gear brand and, more importantly, a full-time son to his mother, Darlene. I learned early in our marriage that "mom says" was his default argument. For anything. At first, it was minor. Mom says don't store onions in the fridge, or mom always used vinegar to clean floors, not chemicals. I brushed it off. Everyone's got their quirks. But over time, I realized Darlene wasn't just his mom. She was the 3rd resident in our marriage. We lived near her in Denver, and she'd stop by constantly. No knocking, no heads up. Just a key in the door and a cheerful, "Hello, hope I'm not interrupting." She always was. I could be in the middle of a Zoom call, a shower, or my lunch. None of it mattered. She'd just pop in. And Tyler? He'd beam. "She's just checking in," he'd say, as she dug through our pantry or commented on the dust along the baseboards. "She's not checking in," I once snapped. "She's conducting inspections." She means well. I swallowed my frustration, again and again. Christmases were worse. Darlene insisted on hosting at our place. All the cousins, uncles, nieces, and their children, especially the children. "I'll handle everything," she'd chirp. That meant she'd show up with bags of frozen pies, a turkey that wasn't defrosted, and a list of side dishes that somehow I always ended up cooking. "You're home anyway," she once told me, "and you're such a natural hostess." Natural hostess. I laughed into the mashed potatoes. I hadn't seen my own parents for Christmas in years. Every time I brought it up, Tyler said the same thing. "We have obligations here. My family counts on us, your family." Mine faded into Zoom calls and missed birthdays. It all chipped away slowly, room by room. Our intimacy vanished. We started sleeping in separate bedrooms, initially because of his snoring, eventually because we didn't talk anymore. We just operated, like housemates who shared bills and a last name. Then, a few months ago, Tyler got a promotion. "Senior VP," he announced with a grin, tossing the champagne bottle into the cart at Whole Foods. "We should celebrate. How about buying that house you liked?" I blinked. "You mean the one in Golden?" He nodded. "You've earned it." Golden was 40 minutes from Darlene. Not far enough for my taste, but further than walking distance. I said yes. The new house was modern and bright, nestled near a hiking trail, with a wraparound deck and a real fireplace. For a few weeks, I let myself believe this was a fresh start. No more Darlene popping in. No more cousins with sticky fingers on my white countertops. I even dared to text my mom. "We're moved in. Maybe you and Dad could visit this spring?" But peace doesn't last when you're married to a mama's boy. It was a Thursday morning when Tyler dropped the bomb. "Hey, heads up," he said, sipping his smoothie. "Mom's coming Saturday. She wants to see the new place." "That's fine," I said cautiously. "Just her?" "Well," he turned toward the sink. "She's bringing the kids too." "What kids?" "Her sister's grandkids. You know, Bailey's twins, Jenna's boys, and, 2 more from Linda. 6 in total." I stared at him. "She's bringing 6 children?" He shrugged. "They're just kids. She's bringing 6 children into a brand new home with cream rugs, glass tables, and an unfinished fence?" He laughed like I was being dramatic. "She said not to worry. She'll watch them." "She said that before Thanksgiving," I reminded him. "Remember when someone flushed half a turkey sandwich and we had to call a plumber?" Tyler rolled his eyes. "Don't overreact. If you don't like it, just stay in your room." I didn't respond. Saturday arrived like a bad dream on repeat. At exactly 10 a.m., the doorbell rang. I was still vacuuming the living room when 6 kids barreled past me into the foyer like unleashed wild animals. Darlene followed, dragging 3 backpacks and smiling like she was hosting a surprise party. "Vanessa!" "Oh, sweetie, the place is adorable. You've done wonders with the space." Then, without skipping a beat, I brought the little ones. They're so excited. Just fix them a quick lunch, and I'll need the bathtub ready after lunch. There's mud on their legs from the park. You don't mind, right? I stood frozen, Dyson still running. I didn't plan for guests today, I said, struggling to keep my voice calm. Oh, relax, she chuckled. You're such a planner. You'll adjust. She turned to the kids. Shoes off. No, wait, never mind. Too late. Tyler emerged from upstairs. Hey, everyone made it, he said cheerfully. Then looking at me, he added, Babe, if it's too much, you can just, I don't know, step outside or something. Darlene smirked. Yeah, Vanessa. If you don't like it, leave. They laughed. They actually laughed. One of the boys ran through the hallway with chocolate all over his hands. Another yanked down the curtain cord. I heard something crash in the dining room. Darlene didn't even flinch. I took a long, deep breath. Something inside me cracked. Something that had been bending for years. I turned around and walked upstairs. In our bedroom, I opened the closet and pulled out a suitcase. Calmly, deliberately. I folded clothes into it, enough for a week or two. Grabbed my laptop, my planner, my pills, my toothbrush. By the time Tyler noticed, I was zipping the bag closed. Hey, what's going on? He asked, looking puzzled. I met his eyes. You told me to leave. You're seriously doing this? I nodded. He scoffed. Where are you even going? Somewhere quiet. Somewhere I'm not the unpaid nanny, the chef, or your mother's punching bag. He moved closer. You're overreacting. I'm finally reacting, I said. Darlene appeared in the doorway. Vanessa, let's not make a scene. Be reasonable. You brought 6 kids into my home uninvited and told me to clean up after them. This is the scene. I'm just walking out of it, and I did. I walked out the door, and this time, no one laughed. I didn't cry when I drove away. I thought I would. But there was only stillness, not relief, not panic, just silence. And the sound of my tires crunching gravel as I pulled away from the house I used to call home. I spent the first night in a business-class hotel off the interstate. Nothing fancy, just a bed that wasn't mine, beige walls, and the absence of Tyler's sighs or Darlene's passive-aggressive humming in the kitchen. I ordered a salad I didn't eat and scrolled through Airbnb listings before falling asleep in my clothes. The next morning, I called my parents. Mom answered on the second ring. Vanessa. Her voice cracked in that way only moms' voices do when they instinctively know something's wrong. I didn't say anything at first. I just breathed. Then finally, can I come home for a while? She didn't ask questions. Just said, of course, like she'd been waiting to say it for years. They met me at the train station in Portland 2 days later. My dad, standing at the end of the platform with his arms crossed over his chest like he used to when picking me up from college. Mom with her purse clutched tight and a travel mug of peppermint tea in her hand. She hugged me too long. I let her. Back at their house, I sat at the kitchen island while Dad puttered around, making me toast I didn't ask for and rearranging chairs that didn't need moving. Mom handed me a blanket, even though it was warm. It wasn't about comfort. It was about anchoring me. It worked. After I showered and changed into one of Mom's oversized sweatshirts, I finally talked. Not all at once, in bursts. How Darlene would drop by unannounced. How Tyler never backed me up. How I felt like a tenant in my own life. How I hadn't spent a holiday with them in 7 years. How I couldn't remember the last time someone asked me if I was okay, and meant it. Then I said it out loud for the first time. I'm divorcing him. They didn't gasp, didn't question it. Mom squeezed my hand. Dad only said, "Do you need a lawyer?" I nodded. Over the next few days, I contacted a local attorney recommended by one of my college friends. Her name was Dana, a no-nonsense woman in her 50s who listened like a therapist and calculated like a surgeon. She asked for any documentation that proved Darlene's interference or Tyler's negligence. Lucky for her, I'd kept everything. Screenshots of texts from Darlene. Make sure the sheets are clean before we arrive. Children have sensitive skin. Grocery lists she'd sent me for dinners she planned without consulting me, even a voice recording from Thanksgiving when Tyler told me, "Just shut up and do what Mom says." Dana's eyebrows lifted. "This is good," she said. "Good? As in, this isn't just an emotional case. This is a provable one." I felt a strange flicker of pride, like I'd passed a test I never signed up for. Then the call came. It was mid-morning. I was on the back porch sipping coffee, watching the wind stir the leaves, when my phone buzzed with a name I hadn't seen in 4 days, Tyler. I let it ring. It rang again and again. By the 5th time, I picked up, not out of compassion, but to make it stop. "What do you want?" I said flatly. His voice was frantic. "Vanessa, oh my God, I need you, please. You have to come back." I didn't answer. "It's a disaster," he continued. "The kids, they trashed the house. I mean, the walls. There's crayon everywhere. Juice stains on the rug. Darlene tried to give them a bath and slipped. She's fine, mostly, but I think she bruised her hip. They broke the towel rack trying to sword fight with mops." "Tyler," I interrupted. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I can't do this. You left me in the middle of—" "I left you in the middle of what you let happen." He was silent. "I didn't invite those kids. I didn't hand over our house. I didn't laugh in your wife's face and tell her to leave." He muttered something unintelligible. Then quietly, "I'm sorry. I really am." I closed my eyes. "I'll come back," I said. "You will?" "Yes, but only to get what I need." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm not staying. I'm coming for one thing. Your signature on the divorce papers." Dana and I returned to Colorado 5 days later. Tyler had texted that he would be calm and handle things maturely. I knew better than to expect that. Darlene opened the door when we arrived. She wore a neck brace. "Oh, honey," she said, as if I were a friend she hadn't seen since book club. "It's been a madhouse without you." "I'm so glad you came to your senses." "I didn't." Tyler appeared behind her, looking smaller. Not physically, just deflated, like a balloon someone left out in the cold. We sat in the dining room, the same table where Darlene once handed me a Thanksgiving menu on a clipboard. I laid the documents in front of them. Dana sat silently beside me, her presence sharp and cool. "You're really doing this," Tyler said. "I am. I thought we were working through it. You didn't even give me a chance to change." I looked at him, looked around the house, at the faint marker scribbles still visible on the wall, the rug stains, the missing curtain rod. "You told me to leave," I said. "I didn't mean it. You said it more than once." He turned to Darlene. She looked back at him. For once, she had no advice. I stood. "I'll need 30 minutes alone to gather my remaining things. I'll be staying at a hotel tonight, then returning to Portland." Tyler nodded numbly. As Dana and I walked to the car, she said, "You did well." I exhaled. "I didn't scream," I said. "I didn't cry." "Nope," Dana said. "You negotiated your life back." That night in the hotel, I got an email from Tyler. One line. I signed them. Attached, the scanned, signed divorce forms. I stared at the screen for a long time, then typed my reply. "Thank you. I wish you peace." Then I closed the laptop and slept deeper than I had in years. I didn't look back. I didn't revisit the house or the memories or the mess. After Dana filed the papers and Tyler returned them with his signature, I let go. I didn't text him again. I didn't answer Darlene's attempt to call and leave me a 5-minute voicemail that began with, "Vanessa, I just don't understand how you could abandon your responsibilities." I didn't need to hear the rest. Let them figure it out. Back in Portland, life began to quietly take shape again. My parents' guest room became my sanctuary. My mom filled the fridge with things she remembered I liked 10 years ago, cherry yogurt, almond butter, dark chocolate-covered pretzels, and I let her. My dad printed out job listings from the local library bulletin board and set them neatly on my pillow every other day like I was still in college. At first, I smiled politely. Then I actually read one. A boutique marketing agency downtown was hiring a creative lead part-time, branding work for eco-startups and local nonprofits. I dusted off my portfolio, added some freelance side projects I'd done over the years, and sent it in on a whim. They responded the same afternoon. The creative director wanted to interview me the next day. I went. Wore jeans and a blazer that hadn't seen daylight since before COVID. Talked like someone who knew what she was worth, even if she hadn't remembered that in a long while. I got the job. Working again gave me something Tyler never could. My identity back. I wasn't someone's wife or housekeeper, or the woman politely apologizing for Darlene's opinions. I was Vanessa Jameson. Yes, I started using my maiden name again, and I was damn good at what I did. I'd forgotten what it felt like to wake up and want to do something, to solve creative problems, to see the look on a client's face when they said, "That's exactly the logo we needed." I rented a small apartment not far from my parents. 2 bedrooms, big windows, a corner unit with a balcony just big enough for a chair and a plant. I painted one wall deep green and bought a bookshelf I didn't have to share with action figures or self-help books about managing your mother's expectations. Every Saturday morning, I made coffee and walked to the farmer's market. I wasn't rebuilding, I was starting over. And Tyler? I didn't ask, but mutual friends kept me informed, whether I wanted them to or not. He's not the same, one of them said during a surprise phone call. Kind of withdrawn. Apparently, he left his job 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, said he needed a break, moved back in with Darlene. Last I heard, they were living in her 2-bedroom condo in Arvada. The kids weren't coming around much anymore. After the chaos of that weekend, most of the family had started distancing themselves from Darlene. Turns out, no one actually liked how much she controlled everyone's life. I just happened to be the first to leave the dinner table. Funny how clarity works. One afternoon, several months after the divorce, I got a package in the mail. No return address, just a box and a note. Thought you might want this. Sorry it took me so long to understand. T. Inside was my wedding photo, the one Darlene insisted we frame for the foyer, where guests could see how classy we looked. I stared at it for a moment. Then I took out the photo, slid it from the frame, and burned it on the balcony in a small ceramic bowl. The smoke curled into the sky like a memory I no longer needed. On the 1-year anniversary of my departure, I invited my parents to dinner at my apartment. I made spinach ravioli from scratch and lit 2 candles in recycled wine bottles. Mom brought dessert. Dad brought a bottle of white wine and 3 mismatched cloth napkins he insisted were better than those cheap paper ones. We laughed, talked about travel plans, work, even politics, things I once avoided for fear of Tyler's reactions. That night, for the first time in years, I felt like a full person. Not someone's role. Just me. Before they left, my dad hugged me a little longer than usual and said, "You did the hard thing, kid. Most people stay. You didn't." And my mom added, "You finally started living your life on your terms. That's all we ever wanted for you." Sometimes people ask if I ever regret it. The divorce. The escape. Leaving it all behind. Here's what I tell them. I regret how long I waited. I regret every holiday I spent serving strangers while my own parents sat alone at their table across the country. I regret the years I spent trying to be palatable, tolerable, easy for people who never cared to make me feel seen, but I don't regret walking out. I don't regret packing a bag and refusing to clean up someone else's mess, literal or emotional. I don't regret choosing silence over shouting, peace over performance. And most of all, I don't regret finally standing up, turning the doorknob, and saying, if only to myself, this time, I'm choosing me. And I did. And it turns out, I love where I landed.